Welcome to The Julie Show. Hot trends, hot topics have been hot all weekend with Milo Yiannopoulos since Bill Maher invited him to come and speak on his talk show. That is really worth watching if you want to get a good look at what's been going on this weekend and have an unbiased view, have a clear view of what's going on. There has been so much controversy and triggering around topics that Milo has discussed regarding feminism, gender equality, and topics that have to do with Trump's vision. And Milo has been a journalist and an editor for a very long time, but he's been an editor recently with the Breitbart News, which is owned by Steve Bannon, one of Trump's advisors. So there's been a lot of frustration around Trump, and then even though Milo is from Britain, his mother's German Jewish. The last name is something common with me, is his last name that he used as a pseudonym, which I think comes from his German mother, is Wagner. I grew up as a Wagner. I was adopted as a Wagner in Ontario, Canada. And another commonality that I see is that he is a Chinese. In Chinese signs, he is a rat, as I am a rat. Different decade, but I'm a little older than him. But he's a wood rat, I'm a water rat. So I'm more of a nurturing quality. I'm more emotional. I'm a little more sensitive regarding emotions, but the detailing of a rat in Chinese is that they love going in and getting the details and disregarding political correctness. They do just say it like it is, and that has been what's been triggering people about Milo, I believe, is there's a lot of pain issues on the table, and he brings his British sarcasm, which is very similar to how Russell Brand behaves, which a lot of people haven't liked Russell, but Russell has come to a more holistic way of saying and speaking about topics, and yet he is very controversial, and he does speak about funny things such as, well, the issue that came up today backwards. You need to go look at the initial podcast that they're speaking of about Milo. They're accusing him of saying or stating or saying that child abuse and pedophilia is great, and that is not what he says at all. It is a late night podcast. There are things that are said, but he addressed it today, so you got to also look at that. Today he came and resigned from Breitbart News just to say, you know what? It's not appropriate that I bring all this into their business. So he maturely removed himself from that. And yet he recognized his purpose and that a bigger issue came out. He recognized that maybe he didn't always see his child abuse in his own experience as actual abuse, and he made too light of it. So go and look at the press conference that was held today where he speaks of what he really thinks and believes, and he never once has said, yes, go ahead, like, I believe in child abuse and pedophilia. He does bring up the topic of being 13, and that's when he lost his virginity. He's put it all on the table for people. He's gay. That everyone pretty much knew him to be gay if they've been watching him. But honestly, all these controversial issues, it really shocked people. And I think the reason why it's bugging people and there's so much hatred being thrown around is because people have their own pain issues around these topics. Being fat was another issue that came out over the past year. And Milo became uber famous, uber fast. He's been in the limelight, and I think he's kind of just getting started with it. But wow, what a rocket going way up and way down in popularity, controversy. People have hated him all along. I myself have dealt with not my own abuse issues, but I have gone and reported. And I have reported people to the police. And Protecting children is important, and by children we mean people under the age of 13. At 13, I also lost my virginity. So what he was acknowledging is that the truth is, when we're 13, we often do discover our sexuality. Not everybody is doing that, but he was just being honest with his own situation. And I think that's important, that we're transparent, and we're not perfect when we say these things, and I don't think he expected any of this. What I love about what he said in his resigning today and his public speech, and the reason why he made it public was to say and address these issues. He also is responsible, because of his journalism, he is responsible for putting 3 people that are responsible for child abuse, and actually done journalistic investigations on them. And because of his investigations, he exposed those 3 abusers and put an end to what was going on there. So it's very hurtful that people are saying that he believes in pedophilia, which is also complete delusional. I know he doesn't need any defense. He is an entertainer, and as we're saying, his sarcasm can be rather arrogant, brash, and yet free speech is what he's about. And as much as you deserve free speech and to have your own process, and sometimes in a public eye that can be very twisted, I think what we all need to do is take a step back and listen, truly listen. Not run with our triggers and throw anger around. I know Berkeley also was a university that had a reaction. Now, whether those people that were rowdy and rioting against Milo speaking at their school, they full on blew things up, smashed their school up. I don't know if those were actually students or they were just rowdies, or even planted to just cause some sort of stir. We don't know. We don't know if this was all pre-planned, but I get the gut feeling that Milo did not pre-plan this. In my whole lifetime, I've never seen someone having to come right out and say, yeah, I was sexually abused and I didn't see myself as a victim. I've never seen someone really have to do that, and I've watched this happen quickly over the weekend of turning from him being quite excited to be on Bill Maher's talk show, regardless of how much hate people throw at him. He's courageous enough to get out there, say his viewpoints, as well as throw in very rash, sarcastic jokes. The outcome of today, when he spoke today at the press release, and Fox News actually held a press release, he said, I'm going to continue being a free speech and saying my own process, and I'm not going to apologize for being transparent about my own process, and that he's going to entertain both the left and the right. And that's something that I came to yesterday, is realizing that how much there's been such a stress and such a judgment for so many years. It's a huge pain body, probably since the 1700s, when the left and the right were something that came out of the French Revolution. Those who were close to the king and stayed loyal to the King of France were considered right, and the rebels and the revolutionists who were speaking out against the king or being really rowdy, being really rash, were the left. And we've tagged that on people for too long. We've created war, and we haven't been finding our common ground. Maybe we do have a tendency to be left or right or whatever those judgments are. But today, Milo acknowledged that as well and said, you know what? Left, right, I'm entertaining you both. And sometimes these topics are going to be huge controversies, and I think that that's the beauty of Milo, is that he's brought challenge. He's brought challenge to being transparent and also joking about things that maybe aren't so funny, but sometimes humor, that's just the way it works. And I know for him to come out and address child abuse issues as not being a funny thing, and not saying that it's a good thing, or even something that should be defended or okay. And that's my hot topic view, hot trend view on Milo. And feel free, I know we're all processing this. I ask us all to get along and find the commonality, and we can discuss these issues if we want. Feel free to like this or hate this and share your comments. It's your process and you deserve the right to have one. Let's just be seeing people clearly and listening clearly rather than running with triggers, emotional triggers and pain, and just throwing chaos around more than necessary. Love, peace, happiness.